On this side, you see I put lights on the walls. I've got two big spotlights in here essentially. And it's just wild.
I mean, I guess I wish I had figured out a lot of this stuff earlier, but I'm here now. So,
Yeah.
you know, the the transition from words only to video, um, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm really competent yet in video, but I'm about a year in, and what I can tell you is that, like any other complex thing you have to learn, it's a matter of reps. You got to do reps. You got to do it over. You're like, how can I express this as a video? And you try, and you suck, and then you suck a little less the next time. And I'm getting to the but doing it over, like putting your mind through that process over and over, because it used to be as a print reporter, like you show up in a place with your notebook and your pencil, and you're like, what do I need to gather so that later when I'm writing my story, I have it in my notebook. And I have, with enough reps, transition to showing up in a place and going like, what pictures do I need? Like, what scenes do I need? Like, what do you need to show people to understand? And in some ways, it is a tremendous relief to me. Chris,
Yeah.
I've written maybe 600 restaurant reviews by now, and every one of those restaurant reviews had to have at least two paragraphs where you attempt to describe the interior space. Like, what's it like to be there? And by God, I wrote some very good paragraphs of description, but now I don't have to do any of that. Show people, show them the thing. What a relief. Oh my God. And all the sentences I had to write to, like, just really have people focus on these crispy, crunchy, delicious, oozy, whatever. I don't have to do that anymore, baby. Look at the thing. Oh yeah. In doing my job as a serial food pornographer, which is what I am, I mean, the job of showing people something that makes them go, "Oh yeah, I want it just like that." And that's what a food pornographer does. It's so much easier once you can just show them the thing. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
I had to learn, I had to grow, and I still am, but what a relief.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to officially start. So I'm going to start the audio side now, and then we're going
Okay.
to do the show. So starting in 3, 2, 1. I'm Chris Lindstrom, and this is the Food About Town podcast.
Rochester? Well, why Rochester?
Chris Lindstrom was a hoot. He was just so much fun. He never stopped talking. I mean, it was great.
Here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
And we don't need any characters around to give the joint atmosphere. Is that clear?
Because I'm a pro. That's what pros do. I'm a professional. Look it up in the book.
But now, I'm thinking I'm back.
And we are back with another episode of the Food About Town podcast. And geez, it's a blustery day here in Rochester. I don't know how it is in Buffalo. Andrew Galarno, how is it in Buffalo this morning?
It's a frozen wasteland of tundra-like existence. So what I'm saying is, same as usual. Now, we're in the middle, we're in the middle of this cold snap here, and supposedly there's another cold snap coming next month. It's supposed to be even worse. So I think hunkering down would be kind of a good way to put it.
I think that's a completely reasonable place to be right now.
I mean, that said, I'm still doing my business, going around every week. I try to hit 2 or 3 places to eat that I'd never been before. And you find out who your hardy companions are when you can get somebody to dig out their car and go visit a Burmese restaurant in Lancaster that they've never been to before. Fortunately, there are many other hardy souls out there with me who just want to bring out the truth about how great Buffalo is as an eating town.
Well, and if you are looking to get out inside this blustery time, support real local businesses, small businesses and a lot of immigrant-owned businesses, Andrew has a book out right now. Tell people where they can go buy it and where they can subscribe to 4 Bites, the only place where you can hear and see Andrew Galarno doing foodstuffs.
4bites.net, FOURBITES.net, is my continuation of my food coverage of the Buffalo scene. I quit the Buffalo News, the newspaper, in 2023, and decided, why don't I just take the message straight to the people, cut out the middleman? And so far, doing okay. You can get my guide for 2026, which has 175 places in Buffalo where I think you should eat, mostly restaurants, some bakeries, some food stores, specialty places, at 4bites.net/shop, or a bunch of places in the Buffalo area, including Talking Leaves Bookstore, Buffalo History Museum, Miller's Thumb Bakery, and Read It and Eat Bookshop, a culinary bookshop in Buffalo on Main Street, among other places.
That's awesome, man. So I know have you done guides before, right?
I have not. This is so
Okay.
I've been doing words for money for 40 years. And this is the first thing with my name on it that I could sell people. It's my first book. And I'll tell you
Wow.
what, it feels different, man. It feels different when you're like, I did this. Would you like this? Would you pay me for this? They give you money. Um, it's a different feeling. And for me going forward, the book and other books, there's going to be a 2027 guide. I'm working on a book that I hope to finish in March, because apparently there is no book in the book catalogs that you can order and put in bookstores about chicken wings.
Really?
Like, I was made for this.
I was gonna say, especially with how many people. I mean, it's in the year of our food 2026, and we see all of the content creators, of which you and I are now part of that infrastructure. We are content creators. Um, is how many people have gone and done we've gone to 20 chicken wing places in Buffalo, or buffalo wing places, of course, as they call them. Um, 20 chicken wing, 20 buffalo wing places in Buffalo over a weekend, and this is the best. I'm like, a lot of these people haven't lived this and haven't been through the trenches and seen the evolution and all the different options that have come and gone.
We welcome their wing tourism. It's never too late
Absolutely.
to join the wing party. I mean, uh, but for me, so when I decided to go independent in 2023, my theory was, I'm going to sell people subscriptions, digital subscriptions. I can do that. And then, that will replace the subscription stuff. And maybe I can make a living out of this. What I learned was, I'm making about, I guess, estimating $20,000 a year from subscriptions right now, which is great. It's not a full living, but it's great. And what I learned is that in today's uncertain times, no one wants to buy a digital subscription. No one wants to buy another thing that they're going to pile up in their email inbox and make them feel bad about paying for and not reading. It's a tough sell. So, hardcores are going to sign up. They want my reviews. They want the cooking stuff. They want to support my project. But what I found out is that if you can just offer people a book or something else, it's a different revenue stream, and it's also a different thing in the world. It's a thing people give each other. It's $13.99. It's not. It's less than a cocktail in a fancy restaurant, and you can thumb through it. It's small. It's 6x4. Actually,
It's
it should
also
be
less than
more
10
now.
cents per place that's highlighted in it. I mean, like, that each of those pieces of documentation, whether it be, describing the place or other things, like, each one's less than 10 cents. Like, that's expertise, like, at a bargain price.
Well, and as I explain in a little bit in the forward, so this is backed up by me. If there's something wrong in this book, or you see something wrong, you get a hold of me. I'm on the case. I will fix it. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't fix a printed book, but this is a real ongoing search for the best things involving food that make you happy to be living here because they're extraordinary.
So, you mentioned this is the first time doing a book. How did you find the process of deciding how you wanted to highlight this many places, and how did you decide on the format of how you wanted to tackle that? Because there's many ways that, newspaper, people in the newspaper industry have done this for many years, you know, like the old collection of essays kind of thing.
Mhm, mhm.
And you're just republishing what's already there, or recreating many things, or updating, or doing those things. How did you make those decisions?
Well, let me describe the genesis of the book specifically, and then you can ask questions if I'm not hitting the details you want. So it's September. I get a text from my girlfriend, Jen. She's in Cleveland. She's paging through this guide to Cleveland eating, and she's like sending me these like furious texts. Why haven't you done something like this? You got all this stuff. You're the guy. What is wrong with you? And I was like, well, it's September. I mean, I couldn't possibly get this done and get it out there for the Christmas shopping season. And then I ran into another friend of mine whose name is Hannah Gordon, Gordon Publishing. She is much younger than me. I met her when she was originally she was an intern at the Buffalo News when I was working there. We've been friends and collaborators in some things going forward. So I happened to mention what Jen said to Hannah, and she's like, oh yeah, no, you totally can. And I'm like, it's September. She's like, you get me the files by the beginning of November, you can have a book. And I'm like, because for me, the content and having the content has never been the problem.
Yeah.
I every day have about 27 things more than I could work on than I have time. So given that challenge, I started pulling stuff together. And originally I was thinking, 100, 100, nice round number. And so I started at long last. Now, remember I told you like I just made my first spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Well, even more shamefully, I have, Chris, I have about 120,000 photos and videos of food.
Yeah.
And before I tackled this book project, they were largely not organized.
Oh, that's an
They
effort. I've
weren't
done it
in
before.
folders. They weren't in anything. So look, I was a poor steward of my own digital resources, and I
Yeah.
had just thrown it all in a pile. So to get this book done, I had to like straighten out my life from a content perspective. I had to make all these folders. I had to do all this filing, because what I did in this book was produce and offer people about 600 photographs, mostly original, some sourced from other places, but 99.9% mine, to try to illustrate each one of these places. So it was not only a conceptual thing, but an organizational challenge that I had to meet and overcome to be, like an adult content producer. I'm sorry. In some ways, I mean, I'm 59 years old, but in some ways, I'm still a little tiny baby who doesn't want to file things. Well, guess what? So I had to conquer that. And then basically the process works. I send my stuff in Google Documents to Hannah. She formats that into the book form in the proper forms. She sends it to let's see, Ingram Content is where we had it printed, and you just pay to have books made.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. And then I was like, oh my God, we need a cover. So I really enjoyed cover work. From 1984 to 1988, I ran and worked with a student feature magazine at the University of Buffalo run by students. So I had a lot of experience in working on covers and various other things and some print work. So we worked on the cover, and then I sent a draft of the cover to Kimberly Bazzotti, who is the proprietor of Read It and Eat Bookshop. And she has proved so invaluable for me to be entering into the book world, because first of all, she said, well, the original, this is the final, the original one, she's like, hey, you're writing a guide to food. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, Andrew, you have no food on your cover. And that's how the chicken wings got there, because now you're looking at it and you're like, hey, buffalo wings. So that's Kimberly Bazzotti. She also advised me on the nice little neat little format. We really want to go for a pot. We don't want this book to sit on your coffee table. It can fit in a pocket, purse, What you got? And the other thing she said was, $13.99 is a good price. Because I'm like, I don't know. How the hell do I know? So she
Right.
gave me that advice. So it was like, okay. So we sent this in. We got it back. So it ends up costing, $7, $7.50, something like that, with shipping to get the book delivered. So I don't have
Wow.
to suck up to some publisher, get an agent, try to convince somebody this is worth doing. I did it, and I spent what it cost me, $2,500, $2,500 to get 500 books,
Yeah.
more or less. And I went out and wow, I sold them. People like
Yeah.
it. And I even got a second edition printed up where I was able to fix most of the grievous errors that were in the first edition. Sorry to all the readers out there. But no, you correct your errors, you move forward. And so now I'm selling books on the website. I'm selling books in personal appearances. Like I will read from the book. I will talk about journalism or social media or anything else you have, because using my 25 years of an experience as a lecturer at the University at Buffalo, I'm not afraid of people. I will show up and talk about whatever you want. And if you want to buy a book, great.
Well, I mean,
So
these are like the easiest interviews I could possibly think of doing, because I could just like, how about a topic, and then you can just go off for for time, and like it's that skill set of being able to have that audience and have being able to give them that information and to, hey, hopefully entertain them for a few minutes. And it doesn't have to be straight from the book, because that's the flexibility of having that skill set of being able to communicate in a good way.
well, and I come from the place of being a community reporter, a community journalist, my entire career, which is about going out and talking to people who you've never met before, asking them what's on their minds or what they think, and trying to figure out what can I do to help this community be better informed about things that they care about or things that they should care about. And to find, so for the last 15 years, it's been mostly food, restaurants, the foodways, from the immigrants who are essential to picking the apples along the Lake Ontario shore, to the farmers whose businesses rely on them, to the distributors and the end consumers, stores, restaurants, eaters. All of those are of interest to me, and I try to bring out things I think people want to know, need to know, or will make them feel better about being where they are. Because one of the greatest frustrations in the recent years of my professional life has been how difficult it's been to get the message out to the world outside of the 716 that you can do some extraordinary eating at extraordinary prices in Buffalo.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt.
And so the book is like another tool in getting that out. Like people who would never in a million years have subscribed to 4 Bites. Somebody sends this to them or they see it and it's like, oh, well, I got my message to them, but in a way that no matter how good my electrons on the digital whatever are going to be, they were never going to see it. You know what? Your mom is not going to like see this on YouTube or anything else. But if you give this to your mom and she pages through it, she's like, oh, that's nice. We should go there.
Absolutely. And well, I think that's the joy of it too. And like having that many places means there's an entry point for most everybody. This isn't purely a certain genre. This is giving everybody an entry point, and hopefully they're going to learn something about the area that they live in or the area they're visiting, because people should be traveling to visit Buffalo.
So one reaction to some people who don't know me that well have been like, wow, I didn't know there were 175 places. So there are about 750, more or less, depending on how you want to count, places that you can eat in Western New York. And what I have done specifically is avoid the trope of saying, here's the best places, top 10, top whatever. as though it's a contest. That is a staple of any sort of, community criticism. Hey, here's the places that you should, here's the best places. I don't try to do that, because what's best for me is not necessarily best for my incredibly diverse audience. So what I do is I say, these are the places I think you should know about, and here's why. Some of them are budget deals. Other ones are places your mom would be really happy to go for Mother's Day. And these are my favorites. I am not trying to be, God emperor and declare everyone knows these are the top 10, whatever. It's like, look, this is me, this is you. Let's find out what works for you. There's room for everybody.
Well, and I think that's something you and I have talked about a lot over time, is like a lot of our passion drives to, small minority owned restaurants, the restaurants of immigrants, the restaurants of, people who are expressing either their culture, their hospitality, or other things. And, we've always lived in that balance world of, we are communicating our love for these things, but we're never the arbiters of authenticity. We are hopefully telling a little bit of a story and getting people excited. And that's, I think, to me, has been one of those things that has calcified in my head over the last year, was how much the job is to excite people instead of educate them, is to get them to want to, not just to be excited to try this stuff, to be delighted by the novel thing that's new to them.
Yeah.
Because we can nerd out about the details, we can nerd out about the history and colonialism and all the things that are affecting, the people that created all these amazing cuisines. But we're also, in the end, that doesn't necessarily get everybody to want to enjoy it. And it's that delight, that excitement, that is, in the end, what we can offer, because that's what we feel about a lot of those things too, is excitement and delight.
Yeah. And, I have changed my target as a critic. Like, look, what should I offer people considerably over the years I've been doing it. And now I really think the primary role that a critic like me has in a community isn't necessarily to say, is X better than Y? I think, look, the people in our community and everywhere else are overwhelmed with information.
Yeah.
Too much coming at them all the time. So I had to realize that some of the maybe more esoteric or things that interested me, because it's like, wow, I've been doing this forever and I've never seen this before. Let me explain my nerdship to you about how excited I am. That's really not what you should be doing as a critic. What you should be doing, in my view, is putting in the work to let people know how wonderful where they live actually is.
Yeah.
This is the work of alerting them to, I didn't know that if I went a mile down this street and turned left and went in that parking lot and go in there, I can get this. I can get this. Wow. Like right around the corner, like almost on the way up. I mean, sensitizing, like people don't know what's available within a mile of their house in a more of an urban setting. Okay.
Yeah.
Certainly if you're out in a rural setting, there's only very few restaurants and you come to know them well. But so many times I am finding a place that's new and I'm like, holy Toledo. I just need to know, need people to know that this is here, because there is very few other avenues for a new business to be discovered. If you didn't drive by, see something on social media and get moved by it or something like that, these little businesses are opening up, withering away, and disappearing without ever coming to the greater attention of the community. And that's where I wanted to get in there. I'd be like, look, if this person and their family have gone through all this trouble and all their expense, maybe they have one shot to really spend the money, get a place open. Well, you know what? My job should be to let everybody know what these people are doing. Maybe their shot soars, maybe their shot flunks and they have to close it. I can't control that. But what I can be helpful in is alerting people to, like, did you know that if you go here, you can get this? Really just breaking it down for people.
Well, and I do have to say, like, that's where I've always enjoyed our conversations, and I do have to thank you for, I don't know if we've done it on the podcast since. I think you and I have met and talked about it, but I wanted to thank you for your help for our run that we did in Buffalo for Nominate. I really appreciate, I really appreciate your, your guidance and some of your expertise in pointing me in some directions and giving me a starting point to find some of those places in a city that I didn't know that well, even though I grew up in the area because I grew up in the country. I had the distinct pleasure of running Nominate in Buffalo for, geez, a little over a year. And being able to go and try so many places that I didn't know anything about, and being able to dive into the research both with, some of your lists and doing my own research into, like, hey, I'm interested in this cuisine. Let's look at the entirety of the city of Buffalo and the surrounding areas and see if it exists. And if it does, is it good? And I just want to try and see if it's good. That was super valuable to me, and I learned so much about Buffalo because of that. And I think that's one of also the great joys of doing, the project forced me to do that. But if you just want to go and enjoy something amazing, you're going to end up learning something about the city that you live in or the city that you're visiting, because you have to go everywhere to enjoy greatness. Like when, like, you sent me to Burmese spots, and I have to say it blew my mind when I had that. It was one of the few things that you have and you're like, "Oh, I am so excited. I'm so excited that I'm trying this today." And like the thing that surprised me most doing that there was when we were working with, I think you recommended Family Tie, which they treated us amazingly. They were great people. Um and we used them, I think, 2 or 3 times because the people who we brought these meals to were so excited, and a lot of them had never tried it before, and
Mhm.
that just feels amazing to say, "I was learning about it for the first time, but you live in this area with one of the most exciting Burmese scenes in the country, and you get to you get to now be able to go get this in your hometown."
One of the things that, you know, I have to say, off of piggybacking off of what you said, um, I would have to say that it's how I learn about Buffalo.
Yeah.
I didn't understand um, the Yemeni culture. In Buffalo, I don't know, a lot of people still were remembering the Lackawanna Six and all that stuff after 9/11. And that's what they think about. That's what they thought about Yemeni. But it wasn't until I didn't, even though I should know better, I didn't really start learning about Yemeni culture until I was able to go to a Yemeni restaurant with a Yemeni friend, Faris Saleh. He took me in and he showed it to me. He's like, well, this is why we do this and this is why we do that. And then it was like, oh, you know what? Now I can write about this food. Before I could tell you what it looked like and what it tasted like, but now I can tell you what it means. And the difference is tremendous. And by following the signs of new restaurants is how I have come to learn about the city that I had been covering for 25 years.
Yeah.
But you know what? I never had to talk to a Burmese person, which means get an interpreter and talk to a Burmese person.
Right.
And I ended up finding about all the different ways that people got here. And then when they got here, why did you decide to make this? And what does this mean in your life? And all of that adds just a richness to understanding your community. If you understand what your neighbors are eating and try it, it doesn't seem like such a strange, hostile world anymore. Those people who don't speak your language don't seem so weird anymore when it's like, oh shit, this is delicious. Thank you. You should come over to my house. We'll make you something super American. We'll make you some chicken fried steak or something. And that experiencing someone else's food makes you less scared of them.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, it's so I was actually gonna bring up Yemeni food as well because we have one place in our city. We have one. Like, I know Buffalo's very dense and has a lot of different options, including like big places that have, banquet halls that are, the hub of the community that is, celebratory and, lets you, hang out and just enjoy things. But I remember, having it and tasting like, wait, why is this way? Why is this food this way? And it's another one of those places that is such a melting pot of colonialism and the areas around it. And I tried the bread for the first time. It was, I think, stewed lamb dish. I think it's called salte lamb. It's like one of the core dishes of the cuisine, and it's served with bread that looked like it came out of a tandoor, and it did. And I was like, wait, why is this bread out of a tandoor? That doesn't make any sense. There's no bread out of tandoors in West Asia or Middle East. I'm like, why is this way? I'm like, oh, the British had colonized Yemen for many years and brought Indian workers in, and then it hybridized. And it's how, the devastation of colonialism also sometimes brings these hybridizations in food that tell the story of history. And in the end, it's also delicious.
I have another example in that vein. In Amherst, near the University of Buffalo North Campus, is a restaurant called Falafel Bar. It's run by an Israeli guy named Oded Ravenpour. It's my favorite place to get falafel and hummus and things like that.
Place is a
But
delight,
he-
by the way. It's so
and
good.
best chicken shawarma in town because he uses dark meat. He uses thigh meat, marinates it, grills it up, and then does that. So it's still got the moisture instead of all that chalky, dry chicken shawarma that we might be used to over here. Anyways, another dish he has on his menu is a sandwich called sabich. Sabich is how it's spelled, at least on his menu. And I'm eating it, and it's just pita pockets stuffed with salad and hummus and chopped hard-boiled egg and fried eggplant. And over the top is this yellow sauce that is tangy, and it's got all these spices. And I'm like, what is this? The sauce on the top is called amba, A-M-B-A. I look it up. It's made, the base is green mango. It's actually Yemenite Israeli from like Northern Africa. That's where it was originally concocted as a sauce. And the sabich itself was actually something that was a genius move, actually created in Iraq by Jews in Iraq who made this, and they brought all different parts of their diaspora together into this little sandwich. And you can get it in Amherst, New York, and marvel at like how these people from all the world came together and made just this bomb ass sandwich. And it makes you think about the globe and the world and trade. And then, you have to go wash your hands because it's kind of a little mess.
But that's what better kind of mess is there than we just got to delight in this snapshot of history in a delightful bite.
Yeah, well, and you had to eat anyway, so hey, why not?
So I think we're gonna take a quick break for the audio side, and we'll be back to talk more 4 Bites with Andrew Galarno. All right, we're just gonna start right back up.
So this is a podcast. We're podcasting right now.
Yes. We are also streaming live and recording video, and it'll be out as an audio podcast.
Dude, you have got the fucking gizmos working.
So yeah, we are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube right now. And yeah, this is kind of where things are going. And I'm not great at doing the video side of things, but at least I can record it.
Hey, look, what we're doing right now, I mean, for me personally, this is not very much effort.
No, this is the easiest
So
thing.
I could do this on the regular with you because
I 100% want to do that. I was gonna bring that up. We'll schedule something after, but I do want to make this a regular thing because this is so easy for me.
well, and it's easy for me, and I love to talk. And if other people want to watch it, that's great. If we can get the word out about some of the great things that are going on.
Yeah.
I've
All
always
right.
wanted. I told you,
Yeah.
you've been hanging in there with me. I want a podcast. I just don't have time to do it. Uh,
Let's facilitate this way. This makes it easy for me.
you and me both, bro.
All right. I'm gonna start back up. Starting in 3, 2, 1. And we're back talking 4 Bites, talking the 2026 Buffalo Guide from Andrew Galarno. 175 places in a easy to pocket and carry around book. You can beat it up, get stains on it, because we want you to use this and really enjoy what Buffalo has to offer. So going back to the selection of the book. Now you mentioned 700 plus places. When you're trying to decide, go ahead.
I started out saying to myself, I think 100 would be good.
Yeah.
So then I made a list of the first 100 ones that I wanted to put in there, and then I started looking through other things, and I'm like, well, you have to include this, and okay, it's not going to be 100. And eventually I had to cut myself off because, well, my publisher needed the thing. And there are still places that I would have liked to have put it in the book that I couldn't put in the book because I couldn't get appropriate photography in time. But I'm really happy with the way it came out. A couple places I just got in. Actually, I held the book for a week because there was one restaurant in Buffalo that I have been watching showing up, shaping up for 2 years. And it was so close. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to hold the book. I'm not going to send it to the publisher until I get this in there. And that place is Mira, M-I-R-A. It's on one of Buffalo's main commercial drags, Elmwood Avenue. It replaces a formerly built out version of Panos. So Mira, M-I-R-A. It's been extensively redone on the inside, and the food is fantastic. It's run, the owners out front are Manuel Ocasio, a super talented young chef who I have had the pleasure of seeing develop since he was 18 years old in the kitchen of the Black Sheep, of blessed memory. And his wife, Gina Nelbone, pastry chef. So they are the partners out front. He's cooking, she's baking, and they have come the closest to developing that sun-dappled Mediterranean oceanside place where you just walk in and everything is like amazing in Buffalo.
I'm excited to talk about this.
So weird and wonderful.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this because I did get a chance to go around Christmas time. I think when I was working back home, selling Christmas trees. One weekend, I got a chance to go and try it out. It was a solo diner. This place also has some ties to the Grange as well, correct?
So Mira comes out of the Grange organization in that my understanding is Brad Roll and Miss Duvanovich, Karen Duvanovich, who did the Grange Community Kitchen, which has for years been my declared favorite restaurant in Western New York for a variety of reasons. Out of that organization, these other young couple came up, working up through the system, and they are partnering with them in Mira. So yes, Mira is certainly financially and quality level a part or an offshoot of the Grange Community Kitchen. Karen Duvanovich is a really talented interior designer. She's the one who made the inside of that place Well, feel like you're not in Buffalo. Okay, I said it.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, going there, I was really delighted, and this place was swamped that night. I mean, it was busy. Like, no bar seats, no, like, the standing, like, the communal table near the bar was packed. I had to wait for a single spot over there. Um, but I gotta say, like, the whole experience, considering how completely mauled they were, like, they were still delivering on hospitality. They were still delivering on all the things you really want a place to deliver on. Um, I really enjoyed the fact that they made, like, the cocktails were really well thought through. Like, everything, it didn't lack thought in any of the things I had, and there was at least one dish that, I won't say everything was like a jam-packed 10 out of 10 or anything, but I had a dish that, like, completely blew me away. And that's, like, what else can you ask, right? Like, when you go to a place that you have something that delights you, something that makes you think a little bit, something that is, not quite what you're used to. Like,
Mhm.
what a great thing that you get to have something like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the extent to which every element of each dish is thought through and um, just delightful. We all like a creme brulee, but who doesn't like malted chocolate milk too? So, I mean, just little playful things. Anyways, I am really glad that restaurant is open finally. And if you want something nice in Buffalo, I would say try to make a reservation at Mira first.
Yeah, and, I'm gonna say the dish that I had was, I think it was the crispy octopus with smashed cucumbers and tomato aioli, but, like, all those tiny amount of words, they had also created this astonishing hybrid of, you know, Lebanese-ish area, West Asian area spices, and made a Szechuan chili oil out of that, and it was just so deftly made, and the seasoning was perfect, and that's a dish I'm not gonna forget because it was so well thought through. So I'm really glad you brought that up because that's one of the places I went that was like, "Oh, this is exciting." It's exciting dining, and that's a great
Mhm.
thing to be excited.
Yeah, I mean, that's on a level where I haven't seen restaurants opening like that in Buffalo. I don't know if there was another one that has just got all the little things going together right off the bat. I mean, I know there can never be hiccups, but
Hey,
what they're doing there is extraordinary. And it's partly because both Gina and Manuel have spent a bunch of time traveling in the Mediterranean, eating in the Mediterranean, seeing and thinking, and then coming back and working in high level restaurants. First of all, in Philadelphia, the Star Group, and
oh,
then coming and I mean, and that's where they made their bones, and then they come to Buffalo, and they have been able to spend several years at the Grange doing trying to apply the techniques, the flavors, the sensations that they picked up in their world travels to Western New York things for Western New York people.
yeah.
The results are extraordinary.
Yeah, and I think that's also that's knowing your audience and knowing that as well. But there's also the other side where, hey, we want the purity of, a cultural thing. And I've seen recently you've posted about a West African restaurant called Yale's that I'd never got a chance to try. I had worked with and enjoyed a place called Buffalo Suya over on Main Street that I was Nigerian that I
Yes.
quite enjoyed, but I didn't get a chance to eat at Yale's when I was doing my adventures doing Nominate there. But it seems like you've been smitten by that, and rightfully so, based on everything I've seen.
Well, and this goes back to exploring the world by exploring the restaurants in your town. First time I went to Yali's, I enjoyed the food and I had but I didn't know about it. Then I got a chance to go back to Yali's with some people who are actually from Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
some visiting guests. And it was that meal where they're explaining and they're walking me through the various ingredients that it really clicked in for me, because I didn't have enough information and context about what I was seeing and eating to really be able to tell the world about it. But once you sit down and they tell you about the various dishes, I honestly think that Yali's fufu with peanut soup would really do a lot of people good if they just tried it. I think a lot of Americans, when they think of the word it's African food, they're still thinking of like uh, cartoonish things and all the newsreels about starving people.
Yeah.
And it keeps them away. Maybe it keeps, I don't know, but I go in there, and fufu is pounded cassava. It's, if you imagine like mashed potatoes as like something a little stiffer, but as an eating tool, like in Italian dining, talk about the scarpetta, the end of the bread that you use to scoop stuff up with. Well, fufu is like that. You grab off a little bit, you flatten it out with your thumb, you scoop up some food, and it is delicious. And that peanut soup,
Oh,
and take one spoonful, and I'm like, whoa, because I'm American. Peanuts to me, the flavor in my head is peanut butter. Peanut butter is actually a combination of peanuts, oil, sugar, salt, and various other things. When you taste the peanut soup, you remember that peanuts are a legume. They grow in the ground, and they have a whole different flavor when you're not trying to make them the other side of a jelly sandwich. And that soup is also fired up with, once I got a chance to talk to them about their food, there's a little bit of habanero or Scotch bonnet
mm-hmm.
in that soup. So there's just this lick of heat, and it tastes like peanuts, but better, like nuttier, more like a vegetable, and less like a snack that's going to make you fat. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So, the soup and the fufu together, I'm like, what a revelation. Like, and honestly, a revelation, like, wow, this is delicious. And people should know about this. And that's my thing. I'm like, I get stuck in places, and I'm like, I need to explain this to people because this is remarkable.
Well, and I gotta say, like, that was like when we got a chance to work with both a Liberian place and a Nigerian place here in Rochester, and then Buffalo Suya in Buffalo. You're really looking into the history of the West African diaspora. Obviously, so many foods that we consider to be American are really West African dishes interpreted through colonialization and the ingredients that exist here. One of the things that dish was one of the ones that had that spark for me, because I did some research into multiple dishes that came from what you would say are the West African dishes. That dish is the root of gumbo, and that's the part that, as soon as I tasted it, I'm like, oh god damn it. Like, I already read about it and I already knew it, but as soon as you taste it, you have that that ratatouille moment, that where it's like, oh, everything clicked. And sometimes you have that taste memory, or that memory of comfort that you didn't know where it came from. And then you taste the root of it, and it's so special. Like, it's such a great dish. And then you're like, oh, wait, where do my favorite Jamaican dishes come from? Oh, it's an interpreted West African dish. We had, what is it, atieke chicken at a place, which was with peppers, and it turned out it was basically like pepper steak, which is served in Jamaican restaurants and all places like that. It just opens up this clarity of why do these things that we love exist? And it's because of so many of those dishes, and it's amazing.
I want to give a shout out to jollof rice.
Oh,
See, before I started going to African restaurants, I didn't understand. Jollof rice is like one of these pride dishes. Like, there are contact, Nigeria, we have the best jollof rice. No, we have the best jollof rice. And I have learned that the best way to get a bunch of people from Africa arguing is saying, well, who's got the best jollof rice? I love it. It's like chicken wings. I mean, it's like everything else. Like, yeah. If you've never had jollof rice, you don't understand. So you've eaten a lot of rice in your life. You've eaten rice pilaf. You've eaten what do you call Mexican rice with some tomato and stuff like that. The kink to jollof rice, what makes it really just remarkable and delicious, is that jollof rice is a dish where they have figured out how to get this whole blend of spices with some chili and some other things, how to get it to just coat like perfectly cooked, firm, not mushy rice. So every little grain of rice is like this tic tac of flavor that's got this thing on it. And I don't know how they do it, but it is fantastic. And how the different parts of Africa, the different cooks, what they want to bring to it. Some are going to use more chili. Some might bring the turmeric. They might bring some other warming spices, to just stumble across or find myself in the middle of this huge intercontinental food discussion.
Yeah.
Who has the best jollof rice? I don't know. Not only is it delicious, it makes me feel connected with what's going on in the world because, like, I know about jollof rice now.
Well, and then you see like, oh, that's exactly like dirty rice in New Orleans is obviously a take on that dish. It's that interpreted version of it. And it's so funny that you mentioned that pride. While we were working here, and we worked, first with a Liberian restaurant called Kamara's West African, and the food was amazing. And then we worked with a Nigerian restaurant. I'm like, oh, we worked with another West African restaurant, and they said, oh, they're Liberian, we are Nigerian. Our jollof rice is way better. And I'm like, it was I think one of my absolute favorite moments of the entirety of doing the project was when we had those discussions, and it was that competitive, but like, hey, we're so proud of what we do. Like, we're so proud to bring this to you that we think we're the absolute best at it. I had that discussion multiple times from, oh, like this Lebanese place versus the Syrian place, Liberian versus Nigerian. And there's, a lot of people, you might not see the difference, but there is this pride and this deep love for bringing the absolute best of these dishes to you.
I love that the jollof rice thing has it's the same thing as if you're in Buffalo and you're like, oh, your town has the best pizza, huh?
Yeah.
Really? Really? You have the best pizza? You don't know what you're talking about, bro. Let me get you some Buffalo pizza. You see the difference. I mean, it's one of the great things. It's one of the great interconnections of food and community and conversation, arguing about who has the best what, because it matters, because not that it matters in that I'm saying that there is one true champion. You should have pride in your place. You should have pride in your food and where you're from. And tapping into that in other cultures and other communities is, man, that's like dessert. That's just great.
Yeah. So, has there been anything? So I highlighted that because I saw some of your recent posts. Has there been anything else you've been fascinated with recently? And then I have a question about a specific place that I'm looking to go to in my next trip to Buffalo. But is there anything else that's been like really delighting you recently?
I can mention a few things. First of all, Western New York now has a legitimate Peruvian restaurant. It is in Fredonia. Okay. So that's about 30-40 minutes south of the city of Buffalo. I just want to tell you, it is absolutely worth the drive. Peruvian food has got so many Central American, Latino crossover things, but also Chinese.
Huge influence.
One of my favorite Peruvian dishes is something called lomo saltado. And lomo saltado is a dish that came out of the Chinese community in Peru. In Peru, they love them some beef and they love them some fried potatoes. So lomo saltado is a stir fry of thickly cut steak in like a soy sauce with onions, fresh tomatoes, and then it all gets and garlic, and then it all gets put over French fries. So you got this like soy beef gravy leaking down into the French fries, and you're eating it, and you're picking up the French fries. You can get that in Fredonia. And here's the thing. When I heard there was a Fredonia, where that Fredonia had a Peruvian restaurant, honestly, I'll be honest, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
What kind of weak thing has got somebody going there? Anyways, but you don't know. And that's why you shut your mouth and you go. That's
Absolutely.
the job. Shut your mouth, go. I went there and I was like blown away. Ceviche. Okay. When we hear ceviche, a lot of us are thinking of Mexican ceviche, which tends to be kind of tomatoey, a little bit of spicy ketchup broth, sort of. So Peruvian ceviche is lime juice, olive oil, oregano, cumin, garlic, and I would drink that shit. Excuse me for swearing. And it arrives and they always serve it with sweet potato, because that's the way they do it back there in the various whether it's fish, shrimp, shellfish in that sauce. And we hoovered that plate. And I was like, okay. And one more I'm going to mention, ají de gallina, which is chicken and hard-boiled egg in a creamy sauce with ají chili, which is not a super hot chili. And it makes things a little bit yellow. It's just it's comfort food, creamed chicken with hard-boiled egg and a little bit of chili in it. Amazing. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Why would there be a real Peruvian restaurant in Fredonia? All apologies to the Fredonia people. It does have a SUNY university there. And then I tracked the guy down and talked to him, and it turns out this guy is a lifer in the Hilton restaurant chain.
Oh, okay.
For years and years and years, he ran not only a restaurant in Las Vegas, but he was on the team that flew around helping set up the hotel kitchens everywhere. So this guy was an executive chef in this major hotel thing. And he finally decided to sell the piece of the restaurant he had in Las Vegas and just settle down and find a little place for himself. This guy looked up things on Zillow, commercial properties. He traveled to 12 different communities. He was in New Jersey, he was in Virginia, he was in Maryland, and he was looking for a place for his place. When he went to Fredonia, he found this place and he was like, this is the place. So through, I don't know, the randomness of the universe, Fredonia, New York has an absolutely wonderful, real Peruvian restaurant. And see, when I found out that, I was like, this is my thing. Like, you would not expect it. So everyone has to know about this.
Yeah.
And it has just been a delight. And for me, to be able to find something that is really remarkable that people don't know about, because people don't know about much because they're flooded with so much garbage. Guys, this is a wonderful place that we live. You can go here and get this from a family restaurant run by people who really know what they're doing. You make yourself happy. You support their family. Isn't this a town you want to live in?
Yeah. And like also serving that community. Like, I can't imagine like that feeling for, even like the kids, right? The kids in Fredonia, any of those kids that have, South American roots, that the fact that they can have some of that food and feel that comfort and feel that joy of having something that brings that to you. Like, that is like, how amazing is that? And like you've mentioned to me before, like, hey, some of those, the original places in Buffalo that had those Chinese menus for Chinese people around UB that gave that comfort to that community and hopefully delighted everybody else at the same time. That is like, that combination is where I love to sit. And I love that story. And that's the kind of thing that makes me want to, next time we're driving to Pittsburgh for something, stop there and eat there instead of somewhere else.
Let me just throw in that this restaurant is 1 mile off of the Fredonia exit on the thruway.
Oh, perfect.
I'm sorry, it's not the thruway. It's the 90 at that point. 1 mile, 1 mile detour off the thruway. Lomo Soltado, baby.
Man, I love ají amarillo sauce or ají verde sauce. Like, it's Like those, it's such a well, it's, I love the brightness, I love the vinegar, I love the spice, and I love that hybridization because it's that culture that has, hey, we have a lot of Chinese immigrants in our country, and it's become part of the core. And to see that is, that's the stuff where it's like, oh yeah, this is our culture now.
When
Yeah.
I sat down, it struck me as an idea once. Wouldn't it be interesting if we could do a Buffalo A to Z,
Yeah.
A to Z, Afghan, Burmese, Colombian,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it, Chris. Couldn't do it.
It's tough. Which
Two
which
problems. Two
letters did you
problems.
miss?
Not a lot of countries that begin with O. Oman is the only one. Not a
Mm.
lot of Omani restaurants. And Z's a toughie.
Yeah, X you can get. X you can get. I mean, Xi'an food.
Actually, there is a restaurant, CN Famous Foods, XIAN Famous Foods, that would do the X. Oh, and if you're not sticking to cuisines, we could do it. We could absolutely do it. Z
Yeah.
for, Zareshk. So Zareshk is a Persian word that means a little barberry. And
Okay.
Zareshk is the name of a new Persian restaurant, the only Persian restaurant in Buffalo. It's about 2 miles from the Amherst campus, started by 2 UB students who are Iranian and met in a UB library while they were studying and fell in love and opened a restaurant. And it's got a brief menu,
Yeah.
short menu, but each thing is made with loving care. It's delicious. And you can get kubide in Buffalo now.
Mm. And I
Which
love
is
that
the-
they wrote the first paragraph of the discussion for you. Like, oh, we had the perfect meeting to created this.
No.
thing.
They didn't put that in their marketing. I dug that out of them because
Really?
every time I talk to a restaurant owner or somebody who's talking about opening a restaurant, I always take a full biographical sketch.
Yeah.
Where were you born? Where'd you go to high school? Where'd you grow up? And then we walk our way forwards until we get to the restaurant. And once you hear people tell their life stories accumulating in what they're doing now, then you can finally begin to measure the extent of the achievement and where it comes from and understand it so much better. I always take a biography before we know a restaurant because we want to know, how did this come to be?
Yeah.
And
Well,
the answer is so often in the lives of the people.
well, and that story too, like the fact that they weren't using that at all in marketing is like, that's a story people want to hear. People love that. Like it's
Well, and that shows you about them. They're nice. They're shy. They're just kids who want to make a restaurant. Me, I'm coming along looking for anything I can do to jab in the eyeballs of a largely inattentive public to get them to pay attention for 5 freaking seconds about this amazing thing that's right down the street.
Yeah, and visit 4bites.net and buy the 2026 guide from 4bites.net. Come on now. So I do want to finish off with a place that, I was texting you ahead of time that next time I come to Buffalo, I want to visit because I've never actually been. And as I've been dabbling with, not being purely vegan at this point, I want to go visit Moriarty's Meats for the first time.
Oh my God. Let me tell you about this place. Tom Moriarty was a Buffalo boy. For some reason, he fell in love. Not for some reason. He told me this. He's a Buffalo boy, got to spend a year as an exchange student in Spain. He came back all like just in love with the food and what they're doing there. So what he did next was, did he open a restaurant? No. This guy went to France because what he decided was he wanted to be a French trained butcher. The difference between French butcher styles and American butcher styles is American meat cutters run animals through bandsaws and get slices of things. That's how you get steaks. French style, you take an animal apart, muscle by muscle, component by component, and you end up with different cuts of beef. And he worked in France for a year apprenticing to become an officially trained French butcher guy. And while he did that for money, he worked in a little local restaurant that was a family restaurant, not one of the fancy places. And when he came back, him and his wife, Caitlin, they opened a little spot that was originally only opened by appointment only. And he decided his place was going to be French, like more French style butchery of locally raised animals. He was going to take apart local animals and sell them to people so you could get a cut of locally raised something in your town instead of just getting the same old stuff from the commodity meat stockyards.
Mm-hmm.
And what that has grown into, now he's on Elmwood Avenue, and they have a butcher shop on one side, and the other shop is a Cafe Bar Moriarty. And it serves things that are from the butcher shop. Like, for instance, my favorite now, beef en weck in Buffalo, they call it the beef en weck. It's, beef, and they make the roll themselves, and it's a caraway, but they don't use horseradish. They use a horseradish cream sauce, which is a sort of deviation from the meta, but I'll allow it. Like it matters what I say. It's delicious. And you bite into that sandwich and you realize how smart it is to buy your roast beef sandwich from somebody who's a butcher, who's taking care, all the care. And on the butcher side, though, the butcher shop, some people just go into the butcher shop, don't go to the cafe. That's okay. Butcher shop, you walk in, 20 cuts of beef, including, stuff you can't get cut from local animals. Picanha, right? Picanha, favored by the Brazilians, a cut of top sirloin rimmed with fat. It's a very specific way the meat was cut to get it to be that way. You can get picanha at Moriarty, but you can also get 16 kinds of sausage they're making themselves. You can get a quart of duck fat if you want to make duck fat potatoes. Like, they're making their own bacon. You go into the freezer. They have stuff that you can just thaw out and stir fry, where they've taken meat and given it like, oh, here's a Thai curry pork stir fry. You can pull that out of the freezer, thaw it out, frying pan. Like, what they've done is they've not just selling meat, they have really filled out all the meat centric type things, and to this day they will even do custom stuff for you. Like, have you ever seen those big pies, English meat pies? They're like about 4 inches tall, cold water pie, and you cut them and you can see the layers of meat. If you call him ahead of time and ask him to make one, he'll make one for you.
Yeah, why not?
How wild is that?
Yeah, it's I loved, like, we had a place that lived in that world called McCann's Local Meats here.
I'm familiar.
Unfortunately, no longer exists. Shout out to Kev McCann and all the the team that was working there. And I really that buff en weck, that was what I wanted to travel for. I saw the pictures, and it's on my list, just on my Buffalo list. I'm like, man, I just want to go cross some of these things off my list to see the expertise of somebody who's doing that work from nose to tail, like doing that real work of using the maximum of an animal you can use, because that's the ethical thing to do when you have the opportunity.
Well, and they are doing all the stuff. So, they're trying to be an auxiliary producer for principled home cooks. Do you want stock? Do you want around Thanksgiving, you can come in and buy gravy. And it's all made there from local animals. That's their thing. That's what they do. And I know this might sound a little bit of precious, but here's what it comes down to. It just tastes better.
Yeah.
It does. It does. And I want to just take one little asterisk here for it. It's not what they're doing there at Moriarty is not, it's not showy stuff. I am always delighted whatever they have. It's uniformly excellent to great. But one of the most profound dishes I can tell you about that I had in there, and this is from their European roots, or for the menu's European roots, I had a dish of bacalao, which is salted cod, and beans. That was it. It was just some salted cod that had been drained and then simmered, and then it was white beans dressed with good olive oil and some parsley. And I'm sitting here like housing this thing, going like, a little bit of dried fish and beans? Why is it so good? And then, that's what they have brought to Buffalo. that I mean, if you've traveled in Europe and you wandered into that sleepy little Spanish local cafe and you just ate this like amazing thing and you're like, I should live in Spain. Okay, great. Live in Spain, but you can also go to Moriarty.
Yeah, because that's not haute cuisine. That is peasant cuisine. But that is what people love. That is the thing that people truly deeply love, is food that brings that comfort, but it's just execution and maximizing flavor over being, and hey, I know you and I both enjoy fine dining and we like the creativity and the execution of those things. But there is something special about, hey, we're taking these relatively simple ingredients and we are making them as good as they possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also high-end execution. That's high-end technique, even though it's simple, but it's technique that matters to make something amazing.
To impress people with salted fish and beans, you need to be a good cook.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to. Moriarty is like the polar opposite of the truffle oil people. Oh,
Right.
you know what'll really impress them? I'll put some truffle oil on this. I'm like, oh, sweetie, no. Oh, no, no.
Don't
Toxic,
please.
toxic alert, toxic alert. Don't do it.
No fun. But what's not toxic is the 2026 4 Bites Guide to Buffalo Eating. Andrew, tell them again where they can go buy that book, and you should buy it.
4bites.net, FOURBITES.net/shop, or in Buffalo at places like Talking Leaves Books, Read It and Eat Bookstore, the Buffalo History Museum, and and if you happen to be going to Miller's Thumb Bakery, which is like a whole nother episode that we need to talk about,
Oh, please.
they are selling my book there as well. God bless them. And if anybody wants to get a hold of me, Andrew at 4bites.net is my email. Send them. I'd love to hear about things I don't know about, and especially where I've been wrong.
Hey, and next episode, well, we just decided next episode's a bakery episode. So you and I are going to schedule this right after.
Oh,
and we're going to do bakery of all different kinds next time.
I have such wonders to show you.
Oh, I'm so excited. So we'll be back next time with more with 4 Bites, but also Food About Town and the Lunchador Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to the Food About Town podcast. If you aren't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go to your podcast app of choice and make us your favorite podcast by subscribing and leaving a review if you can. Music for the podcast was created by the fabulous Taurus Savant. You can hear more of his work at taurussavant.bandcamp.com and make your presence known by seeing him perform live. Food About Town is a proud member of the Lunchador Podcast Network. Oh no, here comes McKenneth.
This has been a presentation of the Lunchador Podcast Network.
I love how confused and delighted Andrew is by all of my outro music. All right.